In keeping with the times today, we would say that human beings need food to survive, of course, but food alone is not enough for people to thrive and to live a healthy, productive and dignified life. We at the South Asia Food and Nutrition Security Initiative believe that the challenge of hunger and malnutrition in South Asia and elsewhere requires a multi-pronged approach, including greater availability of food, of course, but enhanced livelihoods, education, clean water, sanitation, women's empowerment, social protection, and this very special attention to infant and child care. But above all else, genuine food and nutrition security requires political commitment that recognizes hunger and malnutrition as violation of people's human rights, as well as a serious impediment to national development. The importance of political commitment was graphically highlighted by the Nobel laureate Amartya Sen, who famously argued that the Great Bengal Famine of 1943 was not caused by shortage of food, as the granaries of Kolkata were apparently quite full at that time, but the British Raj at the time did not feel the political obligation to protect the starving masses. As we know, Amartya Sen also propounds a thesis that there is no large-scale famine in a functioning democracy. Well, democracy may indeed help avert visible famine, but as we have seen here in India, in South Asia and other parts of the world, democracy is certainly not an adequate antidote to combat malnutrition, which is often invisible to the naked eye and therefore cannot be sensationalized in political elections. Conventional wisdom would have it that hunger and malnutrition result from a lack of food and unbalanced diet. But we all know that hunger has many other dimensions. There are at least 4 types of hunger. The first hunger is the most obvious one, caused by lack of food. When we speak about millions of people going to bed hungry, or when we see the heart-wrenching pictures of emaciated children dying in famines, that is the common kind of hunger that we all know about and speak about. But the second hunger, which we have not talked much about at this conference, is the hidden hunger for micronutrients, such as the minerals and vitamins like iodine, iron, and vitamin A. This type of hunger does not manifest itself in the form of a bloated belly or emaciated body, but it strikes at the very core of people's health and vitality. It seriously damages human brain, learning ability, human health, and productivity. The third type of hunger is the need for children and women for adequate care, nurturing, and protection from infections, without which food alone cannot protect them from malnutrition. The fourth hunger is for safe water, clean air, and sanitary environment, so essential for promoting health, growth, and nutrition, as well as liberating women from the drudgery of this time-consuming chore. To these, today we might add the growing occurrence of obesity, largely caused by junk foods and unhealthy lifestyles, which is becoming an alarming phenomenon alongside undernutrition, even in very poor countries and communities. Overcoming these different types of hungers requires a holistic life cycle approach to ensure that all children get a healthy start in life, that all families have essential household food security, that primary health care and basic education are universally available in all communities, and that we promote good nutrition and healthy lifestyles among adolescents and adults as well. Now we all say that nutrition requires a multi-sectoral approach, which is true. But therein lies a big problem. When something is multi-sectoral, it becomes nobody's priority. Most sectoral ministries of governments understandably champion their own sectors, and multi-sectoral programs become secondary and discretionary, for which one can always pass the buck to another ministry. And there are very few planning commissions and finance ministries or the chief ministers or prime ministers offices, with a few notable exceptions, like our Honorable Chief Guest there and the current Prime Minister of India, that undertake an enlightened approach in support of programs that are important, but for which there may not be strong lobbying from powerful constituencies. And so it is that nutrition has become a subject that is overstudied and underacted upon. But now, fortunately, there has been a significant change in the last decade, and there is a growing consensus, nationally and internationally, on what needs to be done to improve nutrition, why it deserves a high priority, and some very strong evidence-based cases for investing in nutrition. A few years ago, the British medical journal Lancet published a series of articles drawing on lessons learned from many, many countries all over the world that talked about that there was a golden 1,000 days window of opportunity from pregnancy to 2 years of age, during which a set of specific nutrition interventions have great impact in dramatically reducing malnutrition, morbidity, and mortality in children. Inspired by all of this evidence, a bold proposal for scaling up nutrition has been promoted now that is subscribed to by many in the international community. That initiative, the scaling up nutrition, recommends two complementary approaches to reducing undernutrition, a set of about a dozen specific evidence-based direct interventions to prevent and treat undernutrition, and a broader multi-sectoral approach to deal with the underlying causes of malnutrition. The South Asia Food and Nutrition Initiative that I talked about, which is supported by the UK, by ASC and many others, was inspired by that initiative as well as the Asian Enigma study that our previous speaker spoke about, that I had personally promoted when I was director of UNICEF in terms of programs. And they, as she said, ruled out the usual suspects for why there was a high level of malnutrition in Asia, much higher than in Africa. It was not poverty, it was not agricultural production, it was not the vegetarian diet, it was indeed the women's status, the question of hygiene and sanitation. That has led and partly inspired the South Asian Food and Security Initiative. Even today, here in India, we have several puzzle states, as was mentioned. Gujarat, Kerala, Punjab, where despite high agricultural growth and high literacy rate, very high rates of malnutrition persist. At the household level, adequate income does not always guarantee adequate nutrition. And even among the richest quintile in India, over 60% of preschool children are often iron deficient and 26% are underweight. Similar stories can be cited from elsewhere, but given the shortage of time, I will not go into that. Now many of our countries in South Asia are taking action. I come from Nepal, which has recognized this reality and prepared a multi-sectoral health and nutrition development plan. And I know here in India, many states, and in particular, I would like to pay special compliment here to the Honorable Chief Minister, Mr. Patnaik, who has provided strong leadership to turn Odisha from being one of the laggard states in India in terms of nutrition and has transformed it into one of the better performing states in combat malnutrition in a very short period of time. So based on all of this analysis, what do we do now? What are the marching orders for those of us who want to work in nutrition? I believe that several decades of experience, trial and error, lessons learned from the best practices in India and South Asia and other countries in the world have made better progress that we point to a couple of strategies, two-pronged strategies. First, let us scale up certain proven nutrition interventions such as breastfeeding, complementary feeding, improved hygiene practices. Let us also ensure provision of micronutrients, as has been mentioned earlier. I believe that the Swaminathan Research Foundation's Malnutrition-Free Odisha program, which emphasizes biofortification as a horticultural remedy to nutritional malady offers a very good example, and I hope that all of the eminent personalities here involved in agricultural research, scholars, will give particular focus to improving that kind of technology and creating the manpower that is needed in this country and in our region. And recognizing the multi-sectoral nature of nutrition, let us also work in the underlying causes of malnutrition, such as girls' education, women's empowerment, improved equality among genders, and social protection. I believe that in India, the great effort that has been made to increase coverage and quality of ICDS centers, the total sanitation campaign, the National Rural Health Mission, and some of the more successful state-level nutrition missions are very promising and need to be continued. Nutrition must be everybody's business. Thus, India's judicial activism and civil society campaign for the right to food and nutrition are welcome initiatives. The Citizens Alliance Against Malnutrition that brings together parliamentarians and journalists, movie actors and musicians, celebrities whose voices can create a hungama are needed to accelerate nutrition. Strong political commitment like we have seen from the Chief Minister of Odisha are equally needed. So dear friends, to conclude, the world produces enough food to feed every man, woman and child on earth. Hunger and malnutrition are therefore not due to lack of food alone, but are mainly consequences of poverty, inequality, misplaced priorities. Let us use our collective energy and innovative genius to overcome this shameful blemish in our region, South Asia, which is now the epicenter of the world's worst malnutrition. Let us make this ancient land of great civilizations, rich culture, natural beauty, a land free of hunger and malnutrition as it emerges as the new economic powerhouse of the 21st century. Thank you very much.